oh, this is my big fat Greek wedding. The man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she turns
to head any way she wants. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to And Just Like Yap. I am Andy.
And I am Caroline Nash, CEO.
We both have our emotional support lip glosses. Cheers, Caroline.
Cheers.
So we're recapping Industry Season 4, Episode 3, Habseligkeiten. I'm sure I did not say that properly. My apologies. Let's just get right into it. When the episode starts, obviously some time has passed since we last left our Scooby-Doo gang, and Eric is on the phone, and it turns out that Eric Tao is sending out little gifts with a tag that says back in the market, like letting everybody know that he is like come out of retirement. This is so funny to me.
What an incredible way to say that, like, you're ready for a job, you're on the market, maybe also like on the dating market. That would be also like iconic to be like, I'm single, and
sending your like former hookups, like, just so you're aware.
No, they always know. They have a sixth sense. Those sick fucks that you hooked up with, they always know. They like wake up in the middle of the night, they're like, they're available.
Turns out Harper is also here, and the two of them, this is like an Aaron Sorkin wet dream. The two of them are just walking and talking like laps and circles.
Here's what's interesting. Stern Tao. So I was like fascinated that Harper got top billing.
Yeah, I will say, like, this whole episode, this is kind of like a preview of what's to come.
Yeah.
Eric tends to sort of acquiesce to whatever Harper wants. So this is a new age of their friendship. Turns out that Harper is on the phone with Jim Diker, the Fin Digest journalist, and he is telling her, like, I'm pretty sure that they're still processing porn and gambling payments in Africa. So they're basically like said publicly that they're no longer processing those transactions, but they still are, and they're just keeping it under wraps and like basically outsourcing it to Africa in order to sort of launder those transactions. Harper is like, of course, using this a moment to her advantage and like wants to just get Stern Tao's name out there. And Jim Diker's like, listen, that's not what this article is about. And she's like, well, I need to know that it's actually going to be like a robust piece. Like, isn't this probably going to get gutted by legal? Yeah. And then she questions him, like, do you stand to gain financially from speaking negatively about them? Like, do you have like a short running on Tinder? She's trying to figure out like why this guy's, what's the angle? Because in Harper's mind, nobody's ever doing things just to like, I don't know, be an ethical for good, to be an ethical person. Yeah. And she mentions, I saw your piece about getting fleeced in FTX. I had to look this up. This episode is full of jargon. So think of this recap partially as your glossary of this episode. So FTX was a cryptocurrency exchange that collapsed in 2022 because of embezzlement. I guess Jim also was one of those people who lost a lot of money when FTX collapsed. And he's like, I don't even have an active trading account anymore. Most shocking words that you could tell Harper
I know.
Stern.
Look at Harper's face. She's like, what?
What do you mean? How do you stay alive? Is your trading account not connected directly to your nervous system? Seems like as the episode goes on that they're working and living ? Out of this hotel room together. Sweet, whatever it is. So yeah, very weird. So Eric mentions he's on the phone with Hillary, who used to be way back in season 1, Yaz's boss at Pierpoint.
Yeah.
And he's like, why aren't you coming to our investor breakfast? And he signs off the phone call by saying something like, good luck with your son at Yale. So Harper's like, what is this, a deadbeat dad's club? Like you and Hillary like kikiing about trying to repair your relationship with your kids. And she says, I think this might be too intimate a space to be working together. I mean, yeah, you both have like 18 monitors in this hotel room each, and you're eating like room service and it's hanging out, having meetings in the window seat. Like, yeah, I bet that room sort of smells. Eric's like, here's who's coming to this new investor breakfast. Family offices, high net worth individuals, which Harper then, for all of us watching, is like, this means dumb money.
Yeah.
And we cut to Tender, where Henry is now active CEO. We don't exactly know how much time has passed, but he and Yaz are making out in his big office. And Yaz says, when you fuck my mouth with your tongue, I know I've got you back. I can't even, God, this, Yaz Yaz makes me feel like the prudest little prude who ever pruded, because even repeating the lines that she says, I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, she's not her father's daughter, but she's her father's daughter. And also, like, looking at the costuming, I think that's the Cartier bracelet that she's wearing, and that costs like 15 to 20K. I'm pretty certain. So it's like knowing like the little touches of subtle wealth that I think they show, because I think the costuming on this show is so fascinating to me, because it's not like when we talk about Sex in the City, overt costuming, but there's like the touches are very specific for the world that we're in, so it would make sense to me that we're seeing her with like the Cartier bracelet and things like that little jewelry that we may notice.
Yeah, I am just tracking this now, so I don't know if this thread follows through for the rest of the episode. We'll take a look, but it kind of seems like she and Henry, like she's coordinating outfits a little bit with Henry to look like she's basically part of Henry as CEO.
Oh, this is my big fat Greek wedding. Like, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, and she turns
to head any way she wants. Haley comes in to be like, you have a meeting, and also to be like, hey, nice, with her eyes and her little wry smile. And Henry is like, Yaz, please don't say things like that in my office. And of course, Yaz is like, I can, and I will. Shut the fuck up. So immediately we're like, Henry's not really the one who's fully in control here. Of course, Jennifer Bevan's coming over. I have to say, like, I don't find Jennifer Bevan to be an interesting character, like, at all. And she's probably not meant to be, but she sure comes up a lot in every single episode.
Here's what I think. The thing is, so because she went to that dinner at Henry's 40th birthday, that has elevated her. And if she becomes prime minister, then she's in their pocket. I'm very curious to see, I think by the end of the season, like what that means for her as her leadership within the UK. Because I think we're building to something with her, obviously, and her being prime minister.
So Yaz is like coaching Henry, like Jennifer's going to be here, like reminding him, like, we're really going to highlight the Muck Renaissance. Like, she saw you at your worst, but you're going to talk about how, like, men's mental health shouldn't be stigmatized. We're going to, like, reframe this narrative of, like, it's not that you just, like, sloppily kissed her while you were on a bunch of drugs at your birthday party. It's that you were struggling with your mental health and how strong you are now, yada, yada. And he was like, no, this is about getting, like, the IBM Bauer merger over the line with the regulator. That's what this meeting is about. I'm going to end up putting my foot in my mouth if I try to make it about myself. And Yaz, this is so Lady Macbeth, puffing him up like, you are the company. Like, this man just came on as CEO, like, not that long ago. But, like, she is, like, boosting his ego to the heavens with this line.
I'm making a prediction. I don't know if you've seen Phantom Thread.
I have. I love Phantom Thread.
I wouldn't be shocked if Yaz is poisoning Henry by the end of this season or a season from now to, like, continue to have control over him. Yeah.
She learned to forage some mushrooms. She's going to make him a little omelet. He's like, I'd be dead without you. You know that. And, like, yeah, we all know that. This whole situation makes me so nervous with her starting their scene with, like, I know that you've come back to me because of how you're kissing me. It's very clear that Henry has, I don't know if it's bipolar, but some mental illness with very, very low lows and very, very high highs. And it oscillates between the two. Like, there's going to be a low coming. Jennifer Bevan's around, and Henry, after saying he wasn't going to talk about himself, starts talking about himself. And Jennifer's like, I don't really care to do this right now. My brother had issues with alcohol. It's day by day. I totally get it. She's a person in politics. She's like, you know what? Whatever. Like, it's crazy that she doesn't care about what happened at his birthday party, but, like, she's busy. She's got shit to do. She's not bothering with it right now. So they get to walking and talking, and Henry is trying to frame this IBM Bauer merger with Tender as, like, the consumer's being given a fresh choice. It's actually, like, giving people more options rather than, like, consolidating banking. Because, like, the whole argument against Tender and IBM Bauer merging, among other things, is that, you know, you don't want, like, a banking monopoly.
It's the argument with like Ticketmaster, the fact that like they're cornering the ticketing market, and the fact that like we're all forced to deal with their policies, their random junk fees that they put on you.
So he's trying to reframe it of like, no, it's actually like really more democratic because it's not a bank, it's disrupting banking. You know, all that bullshit that companies peddle to make you think that like they're on the side of the consumer, and they never are. And then this was just funny, and maybe even an opportunity for a post-Brexit relationship. Basically like saying like, since we're merging with IBN Bauer, who is this Austrian bank, like maybe this can like mend some fences in Europe post-Brexit. And immediately Jennifer Bevan's like, we don't talk about Brexit.
I love it.
I know.
My girl's controlling the narrative
about Brexit. I know.
Absolutely. Also, this so funny. This scene in particular is like, she looks so much like Shiv. The way that
she
they like
does.
have her hair and like the styling, she looks so much like Shiv.
Yeah, so he's continuing to try and influence her and saying that the Labour government is over-regulating. Yaz fondly looking at Henry. Honestly, it's weird to see Henry Muck, who was just so down and so incompetent, like being so competent to the point that the viewer is like, I don't even really know what the hell he's talking about. And Yaz really embodies that with this look of like, wow, look how far he's come. Like, look how well he's doing. We are back at Stern Tao headquarters. We're having this breakfast. They're pitching their shorts only fund. All of these people, we got the classic guy in the collared shirt and the vest that we always talk about.
The spring is sprung. The financial bros are in their Patagonia and their blue button down.
Yep, on their way to Sweet Green to talk about no fapping.
Shake.
They're going to fap that salad, but they're not going to fap. That's how you 10x productivity. You're only fapping your salad. So the potential investors at this breakfast don't seem very convinced. You're essentially giving up before you started. And of course, this whole show is people like reframing wording so that they can influence other people. You see a market that only goes up. We see a target-rich environment. Eric is now speaking for Harper, said, I worked with Harper for many years. That is a bone-deep moneymaker. Crazy to see him in this setting, like building her up. I mean, he's not wrong. Like, Harper is a bone-deep moneymaker.
Totally.
She will ruin her entire life in order to make money. Okay, and again, we're getting more flack from the potential investors. This guy, Pierre, I just love him in the thickest French accent. He's like, okay, let's get down to brass tacks. You've either got a short that puts the cat inside the pigeon or you don't. I looked this up to be like, is this an expression? I don't think it is. There's an expression, put the cat among pigeons, like, to like put a cat in a group of pigeons, aka like cause chaos. I just love it just as like a fun character line for this guy who like looks like Lumiere.
Hee hee hee. Ho ho ho.
Oh my god. Okay. So now, yes, again, another mention of death. Harper is trying to explain like who she is to these people. My real passion lies in finding dead men walking. So she really wants to go after like a big fish that like people don't realize is valued incorrectly. They're not having it. The people at the breakfast are like, look, I have finished my expensive croissants and like I'm really just not interested. She throws a Hail Mary and gives them a name and says we have our eyes on Tender, which of course everybody is like, huh? We head back to Tender where Ferdinand is mentioning Moritz and his mother, who are like relitigating the terms of this merger. Moritz and his mother are IBN Bauer like family members.
Board,
it's their and they're on the board. They have like not real board seats. It's kind of all just for like appearances and to like.
They're like executive chair. They're like an honorary sort of like for face.
Honorary, yes.
Like the face of the bank.
And Whitney's like, they already voted. They voted to sell their family bank and we're going to pay them because they voted that way. So they need to just shut the fuck up. And it turns out that this Moritz guy is concerned about like customers' data. He thinks that like clients are going to be targeted, their data is going to be targeted, invested, what have you, post-merger. I mean, it's a fair concern. There's a lot going on in that space right now. And I don't know who this guy is, but he's in the meeting and he pipes up and says, didn't the Bauers finance the Reich? And Ferdinand, with no enthusiasm, just flatly, like he has had to make this statement word for word, many, many times in his career, they've given huge financial support to show survivors tens of millions. So it does seem that they did finance the Reich, but they've tried to make up for it monetarily by like paying reparations to victims of the Holocaust. And I love this. Whitney's like, listen, my reading of this guy is that he's an Alpine fuckboy, which is just an incredible 2-word phrase. Yasmin, again, she's still there. She's in the meeting because she is basically like Henry's advisor now. And she was like, and she's not wrong here. Yeah. She's like, testy family members respond well to a bit of FaceTime. And Henry's like, I love it. Let's do that. Like, let's support and scaffold like this Moritz guy's delusions of grandeur. And the guy who piped up before tries to pipe up again. And Yaz says, no, this is Henry's executive decision, which is like a crazy power move in a meeting when you don't like 100% work there.
I know. And they finally ask, like, why is she here? I think maybe next. Yeah. And so also I was like noting the half sips in this scene. I was like, I kind of want to tender a half sip. If this is not on the HBO site, I kind of like...
I know.
I like that more because the Pierpoint one looks like NYU colors, and I'm not gonna wear like a Pierpoint hoodie, but I might wear like a Tinder half sip.
I've seen like Waystar Royco sweatshirts. Oh, I know.
I need. I wouldn't wear my old company's merch, but I wear fake company merch. So
for one of the worst fake companies ever, like most evil. And Henry's like, she's a paid consultant, and we need her here. I mean, the thing is, like, Henry can't function without Yaz, so they do actually need her there if they want him to continue being CEO. But this is, like, a weird position for Yaz to be in. Like, she was powerless at the estate when Henry was going through his depression, and she's still not as powerful as the Yaz we know in this current position because she's not actually officially working at Tender. She's basically Henry's like operating system.
Yep.
Eric is now questioning Harper after the breakfast about Tender. Like, do you actually think that there is something there? And she shares, like, I've been talking to this journalist, and it's an unpublished hypothesis. And he was like, well, why the fuck would this guy, like, compromise his ethics to leak this stuff to you?
Yeah.
Reminds me of the first episode where Haley is like, where the fuck are your journalistic ethics by, like, following me home to get me to answer questions. Ethics in this show, not as important as money and power.
Ethics aren't an issue until it's a problem for them.
Right. Until you have to, like, have somebody write a statement. This is one of my, like, favorite, like, Harper and Eric dynamics where she sort of, like, humbles herself for a minute to let, like, Daddy Tao drop some knowledge.
Yeah.
And so she's like, how much would the stock re-rate if, like, all of this stuff came out? And he said, you can't kill a blue chip without 1,000 cuts from some reporter. And he's basically saying, like, yeah, this stuff can come out, but the story has to be consistent and powerful. So, like, how good a storyteller are you? Can you prove that there's something wrong, and can you be loud enough to prove it long enough that the share price actually does change? And then he's like, Short's work is ugly work. Like, it's messy. It involves, like, a lot of research and reconnaissance. And then he says it's anti-establishment and it's anti-power. And I love this. Harper's like, and which part of that is supposed to be a problem for us?
I know.
Iconic. I love her.
Again, like we said, this is a character we've seen for men on so many different series. Yes. And to see a woman get to be like this is so empowering, to just be like, fuck ethics, fuck morals, like, I want my bag. Like, that's it. Yeah. I love it.
So Jim Diker has sent his pre-publishing questions over to Tender, and Henry's getting a little annoyed about it. And he's reading it and is like, he's saying that we're still processing these illegal payments through African jurisdictions. And obviously everybody watching is like, that explains why old Whitney has been going back and forth to Accra. Whitney tries to talk him down. He's like, it's somebody who's trying to, like, manipulate the share price that's talking to him. He's talking to someone in the hedge fund community who's trying to get him to publish this so that they can, like, make a quick buck off of day trading. I literally can't believe that I'm saying these words right now and I'm actually understanding what's coming out of my mouth. Like, look at what this show has done to me. I am a right-brained individual, okay? Yeah, Whitney's trying to, like, talk him down, like, it's not a big deal. I did wonder when he said this line, I guarantee he's talking to someone in the hedge fund community, does he have Harper in his pocket? Like, in his mind, He slept with Harper. He knows Harper works in funds. Yeah. And it seemed like in that moment where Harper gets the call from Jim Diker that, like, maybe he knew that's who she was on the phone with, ? I'm wondering if one of his ideas of how Harper might be useful to him is to point the finger at her.
We're building, like, the other shoe is going to drop and, like, both. I just, like, I'm just curious when it's going to happen.
And then everybody's, like, you know, giving their ideas of, like, how to approach this. And he just goes, Yasmin, what do you think? And Yasmin, now that she's been, like, lightly scolded by that guy at the table, is like, well, I don't have the qualifications. But then she does say, like, I agree with Whitney. Here's what we should do. This whole dynamic is really, like, interesting and awkward to watch because it's very clear that, like, Yaz is going to be around for the long haul and everybody just has to get used to it. Haley pulls her aside and says, I have a confession to make. And as the viewer, you're like, what is this gonna be? And she's just letting her know, like, hey, the journalist who is working on this article, like, I almost slept with him. I mean, like, I don't think it's a bad idea for her to, like, tell somebody this just because, like, she didn't mean to go home with the journalist and she did kick him out and send him away. The fact that she chooses to go to Yaz is interesting and lets me know that, like, Haley is savvy and realizes that, like, Yaz feels weird about her position and this is sort of like, ooh, Yaz actually has a lot of power, but, like, her ego needs to be boosted a little bit. So, like, let me confide in her woman to woman. She mentions, like, I was kind of fucked up. I'm not really sure what the series of events happens. And Yaz is like, I hate when men take something that isn't theirs. And then the two of them share a little, like, knowing smile with each other that seems to be more than just, yeah, fuck men.
Fuck each other.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. And then Yaz, of course, is like, when we go to Vienna tomorrow night, like, have the night off. And she's like, well, I need to hear it from Whitney or Henry because I'm their executive assistant. Okay.
I jumped.
I know. We get back to Sterntow headquarters and Lily is there. We do get confirmation that Lily Lara is named after Lily and Laura. And Harper meets one of Eric's daughters, Lily, and it's awkward and weird. And as she's leaving, Eric hands her a wad of cash and is like, tell your mom you had a good time. And she said, I did, mostly. So he's clearly trying very awkwardly to repair his relationship with his kids.
And there's also a weird line exchange where Lily's like, are you her?
Yes.
That sent a chill down my spine. Because I was like, oh, what are they saying about Harper? Like, in her like, mother's home, like, what are they saying about, like, her intervening and their family bubble?
I mean, it's a fair question because, like, Eric is kind of a scumball sometimes when he wants to be.
Yeah, and she says, like, you shouldn't be thinking about me. That was the other thing.
Yeah, so it does seem like maybe Eric's... Good catches. It does seem like maybe Eric's daughters and ex-wife think that he and Harper have a more intimate relationship than they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living and working together in, like, a giant hotel room, so, like,
Sweet,
it's not unreasonable to make that assumption. I really hope they never sleep together. I really don't want that.
But did you see how thick that wad of cash was that he gives her?
I know.
She's, like, leaving. It was crazy. I was like, how many thousands of dollars must that be that he's, like, paying off for her?
For being an absent father, basically. Harper's like, how's Operation Normal Guy going? Like, you know, you trying to, like, parent your kids while you're here doing this. He tries to get closer to Harper by asking if she has siblings, and she gives him this look that's like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what the fuck do you think you're asking me while I'm eating my salad? And it turns out that Harper wants to go to Kenny to place some trades, and Kenny is
our boy!
And Eric's like, it's gonna be, like, maybe weird because I fired him while I was hungover. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes
when you're
later.
hungover is, like, the least worst thing that's happened on this show.
I know, and that's kind of what they say at the end of this episode, seriously. I know. Sweet Pea's back. I love Sweet Pea. This is one of my favorite characters.
I love her.
And Harper's asking her how it's going at Mostyn. She said the misogyny swings between patronizing and lecherous. And Harper's like, do you feel like cherry pie left on a windowsill? And Sweet Pea says, well, it's my own fault, referring to being on Siren, and then there was the leak. And this is, like, Harper at her absolute best said, fuck that. You did something for you. Some asshole made it not for you. And I hope whoever leaked it fucking suffers for it. And Sweet Pea thanks her. And it's a really, really wonderful moment. Like, for all of Harper's faults,
I know,
she will never, never, never sex shame anybody and will always speak up for women taking their power back.
We'll give her that credit. And there's, like, something about, like, the way that she is trying to get Sweet Pea to, like, rise through the ranks. That this, like, mentorship, like, it's almost like she's now the Eric to Sweet Pea. And it's, like, so interesting to sort of see her now in this position of power. For now, I'm like, I really love this duo. It does a lot for me.
Sweet Pea has been doing some research on Tinder because Harper piqued her curiosity. And she's saying, like, a huge chunk of their revenue was gambling and pornography. The EMEA region is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And she says, like, that region is maturing into a key driver of their growth. And I'm not saying it's not possible for EMEA acquisitions to drive growth.
It's not adding up.
It's not adding up. They said they weren't doing this anymore, processing like gambling and pornography payments. And then all of a sudden they're fine without that chunk of money because this other chunk of money coming out of Africa is growing and it just doesn't seem transparent. And that kind of risk hasn't been accounted for in the share price. And then I love this. Sweet Pea is like in the middle of explaining all of this in great detail. And Eric, of course, pipes up from another room to be like, hi again, Sweet Pea, because like, of course he needs to like say hi to Sweet Pea. And so she's surmising that they're still continuing to process the illegal payments. And she said, at the very least, like, this is evidence that there should be a correction and a re-rating of the share price. She's saying the market's reading Muck's appointment as a positive catalyst. I'm not sure why. Anybody who personally knows Henry Muck is like, why would this give you more confidence in this company, but like whatever.
Because Lumi failed. Lumi was a failed company, so it's like, why would this make you feel good?
And then Harper's like, please come on full time. And right as Sweet Pea like maybe is considering it, Rishi comes in with God only knows how he got boxes and boxes of what I'm assuming were stolen files. I don't want to know.
Transactions, yeah.
Yeah, I really don't want to know. But Sweet Pea's really upset. And we find out a little bit more here. Like, Eric's like, hey, we're helping him out a little. Like, calm down. And she's like, don't tell me to relax. He's a fucking murderer. And she mentions that she had read about everything
so that means
that he had done. So, yes, it means that, like, part of the reason why Rishi has sort of been ousted from the world of finance and kind of the world at large is because what happened to him clearly was published somewhere. But she's saying that he's a murderer. Did it seem like maybe Rishi did it? Is he in the middle of like a legal battle? Like, we don't have any idea. But clearly there is a public opinion of what Rishi has done. Sweet Pea draws a very clear boundary of like, if you put me in the room with him again, like, you will never speak to me again. And Harper's like, heard, got it. Now we start the Sound of Music portion of this episode, but like Sound of Music in the upside down.
It looks like we're on the inside of a beer stein.
We are meeting Moritz Bauer, who right when meeting his guests, talks about how, like, for every genuine homosexual, 9 are created by British boarding schools. So, like, right off the bat, you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. Also, this woman next to him is supposed to be his mom. They look the exact same age to me. Yaz is taking the opportunity meeting Moritz to be like, by the way, I'm also a consultant. I'm not just Henry's wife. And Henry right away, like, they've just gotten off the plane and is like, we are going to be dutiful custodians of your family's bank. And Moritz takes the opportunity to start talking about, like, here's my whole fucking deal. Part of the depredations of neoliberal late capitalism, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, you're gonna get the bank, and then we'll all have to just be like, it's the free market, it's supposed to happen. Here's the thing, I don't disagree with this guy, like, face value, but you're like, this guy's not my guy.
Right, I know.
Back at the hotel suite, Harper is sitting in a pile of boxes of paperwork.
Oh, God.
Like, reading these reports.
This
and
really triggered me in a way that I can't even express of having. I used to have to review payments on a daily basis. I was like, oh my God, I had to do this every day. And so she's
tried to call a bunch of the, like, payment processors that tender purchased in Africa, and then she's just being kicked to the call center in Dublin on like an indefinite hold. Everyone knows this hell. Everyone's been on this kind of hold. And Eric's like, why don't you go out and have some fun, blow off some steam, Operation Normal Girl.
Oh, and also this is when we start getting the sail away sound cue for the first time, because that's on.
Oh, really? I didn't notice it here. That's really funny.
In the hold is because it's Dublin, so they have Inya doing sail away.
Wait, the hold music?
Yes, when she's on the phone.
I didn't notice that. That's amazing.
So it's like a good callback to later in the episode. So that's the first time we hear it. Yeah.
Oh, notice the Enya at the end of the episode, but I'm surprised I didn't notice it here. That's amazing. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
And Eric is like, okay, so Pierre is in potentially, but his condition is that he's going to put up $90 million. I'm going to put up $10 million. And the first $10 million we lose is my $10 million. So he's only willing to do this if he knows that
his risk.
I'm going to be the one taking on the risk, which the fact that we know that Eric has whatever he made previously at Pierpoint, and then they gave him that $20 million when they fired him, it's still obviously a risk because $10 million is a lot of money. And he says, that's my girl's inheritance. Like, that's my family fund. And Harper says, like, I would never, ever, ever ask you to do that. Keep that in mind, friends, because she doesn't directly ask him to do that. And he's like, we don't even have a traitor. And he's like, it's just the two of us in this suite. Like, what are we doing here? And he's like, I'm telling you, like, for a few hours on a Tuesday evening, like, I tried all business, I tried all pleasure, like, you need to find a happy balance. Please get out of this room. Like, please go do something. Yaz is in Vienna, and she's staring at this painting. Is this the painting? Is it a painting of the castle that they are currently in?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Right. So she's looking at this castle. Sadly, it is not a beautiful portrait of the traitor's castle. Moritz's mom is like, we hope you like your room. It's my favorite room. It's full of our name of the episode, Habseligkeiten, which she then says means possessions closest to your soul. I looked this up. Yes, it does mean possessions closest to your soul. I think it's more like, if there was a fire, like, what are you grabbing? Like, the things that are most important to you.
Interesting, in the scene, Yaz is speaking German. So it's like the first time we're seeing her also speak, like, she's like, oh, I'm able to meet you where you're at. Like, this is why, like, I'm here as a specific, like, important figure to make this deal happen.
Yes, because a reminder, Yaz speaks 7 languages.
She
fluently.
Speaks 7 languages.
Yep. Had to do it. Had to do it to him. And then, oh boy, we're at dinner, and Moritz is continuing to explain his political philosophy, which is that Louis XIV, the Sun King, best ruler ever, and all answers lie with whatever it was he did. Caroline, do you want to tell us about Louis XIV?
Yeah. So Louis XIV, he was the longest of any European monarch. He ruled France from 1643 until his death in 1715. So he came into power when he was 5 years old.
Oh my God.
And he was accused of having dug the grave of the monarchy, though, through his religious policy, his last will, and his isolation of court from the people. But he was known for having these crazy, like, extravagant parties and things as well. And it would make sense as to why someone like Moritz would idolize him, when actually he's the reason why, like, indirectly, we probably got the French Revolution in, like, many ways.
He's continuing to go on that, like, anyone with eyes can see Western liberalism has failed. Partisan divisions accelerated by social media. Again, on its face, I don't disagree with him. He goes on to say, like, they're only enacting policies in order to get elected, which is a problem that, I have with, everybody should have with, like, our representatives in government are constantly just trying to get reelected instead of, like, doing shit for us. Yeah, so, like, again, face value, he's not wrong, but then he starts to get, like, a little more specific in a negative way, and his mom's like, just shut up, this isn't dinner conversation, like... This absolutely killed me. If you ever want to stroke someone's ego, tell them that you read their Substack. It's like incredible. No offense to Substack. Caroline has an amazing Substack. I love Substack. But, like, to tell a man a man with terrible ideas, I read your Substack is, like, incredible.
That line really stuck something deep in my spinal column. Yeah, thank you for reading it, but also, like, it's embarrassing. I don't know.
And also, like, Yaz is a genius for saying this because, like, this is exactly what this man wants to hear. He's talking about how, like, effective companies aren't collectivist enterprises, they're dictatorships. Ferdinand, the man with, like, no personality, tries to be like, it's a shame that we always end up talking about politics. Moritz is like, nope. And he's like, I see the way that I view the world as not, like, old-fashioned, but as a respect for tradition.
Also, I don't know if you noticed in that shot, yet another pile of massive sausages to take us back to last week. The dicks, the sausages are on the table. It's a sausage fest.
I think for the finale of this season, you and I should each have a plate of sausages in front of us. So then he brings up the thing that we had been talking about before, that he was concerned about, like, his customers' privacy at the bank, their data, whatever. Henry's like, well, we're still going to drag IBM Bauer into the future, and then, like, coyly smiles and then eats sausage. And Whitney's like, you did vote for this. We are going to pay you. And here is a big moment. The way that Moritz retorts, because he's angry, he, like, over-exaggerates Mr. Halberstram, and his mom interrupts him to be like, Moritz, calm the fuck down. In the moment, I didn't really understand what was fully going on here, but we're having a secret meeting, like, going up to the turret, I guess. And Henry's like, he's a fucking fascist, and what about that thinly veiled anti-Semitism? So the way he emphasized Halberstram, common, like, Eastern European German Jewish surname, so Moritz was clearly attacking Whitney and, like, making an allusion to the fact that, like, he was being aggressive toward him because he is of Jewish descent. And Yasmin's like, no, it's fine. That's not what it was. And Whitney's like, well, for someone whose last name is Hanani, like, you're seeming pretty calm. And you looked this up, that Yaz's last name is also of, like, Hebrew origin, right?
It means God has gratified me, and it's one of the name of 5 men mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, one of the sons of Haman.
Anyway, this guy's a piece of shit, but Yasmin, the eternal pragmatist, is like, I want to stay and, like, try to see if we can get somewhere with this guy. Harper, it turns out, was trying to go on a date with Quibina.
Ugh, and this whole interaction was hot. Also, we see, like, Harper change her hair, so she did a braid, like, in her braid. It was just, like, everything. I was like, oh, interesting. This is what happens when Harper's, like, into somebody. We haven't really seen her have, like, a crush. Like, it's all been, really, like, hit it and quit it's for Harper, or for, like, also for some sort of, like, gain for herself. So it's, like, what's this leading to? I'm titillated by this whole thing.
I know. He was late, and that makes Harper angry, so she immediately is like, I fuck somebody else, and he has her number and is like, were you gonna say that to me before I was late? I know. He clocks this and is like, are you just saying that to me to punish me for being late? Because he knows our girl. And he's like, I thought we were, like, hanging out, like, and she's like, but you like me. And it's in this very, like, aggressive, like,
very Paris from Gilmore Girls. Like, very...
Yeah. Oh my God, Harper is very Paris-coded. Wow.
Yeah.
And then I love his response, like, when she says, you like me, he says, well, you make it pretty fucking hard. But yes. Nothing hotter than a man who's into you, even though you're a total fucking bitch. It's the best. He tells her, like, let's just have fun. We're here to have biodynamic sake and, like, maybe mutual fellatio, like, try separating church and state. This incenses her again, and she goes to get up and is like, I came to offer you a job, and she, like, starts to storm out, goes home. Eric is in his hotel bathrobe, sitting in this pile of banker's boxes.
Okay, do you think he has underwear on under the robe?
I certainly fucking hope so. I think that he does, because he makes a comment here of, like, do you mind me being this casually dressed? Which is just, like, it's so funny. It is very Odd Couple vibes. Harper has already said, like, I think this is too intimate a space for us to be working in. And yet she comes home and Eric is, like, all but doing, like, cucumbers on the eyelids, like, face mask in the living room. And he's like, I followed up with all the people who were at our breakfast, and a lot of them were, like, really surprised that you were suggesting that Tender was anything other than, like, a sherbet.
Oh, he also before that asked, like, what are 14-year-old girls into?
Oh, yeah, because he's buying a gift for his kids, and Harper's like, I don't fucking know. Like, you should know your kids. Like, their relationship's so funny because especially things have flipped so much that, like, because he has such a shitty relationship with his daughters is kind of trying to get Harper to, like, be his surrogate daughter and like bond with her and have that rapport with her, and like he doesn't ever get discouraged by Harper then just like spitting back at him like, you should know what your fucking kid's like, I don't care, like fuck off.
I know, and it's like she's the only person he probably talks to, like in a like intimate. I know, it's sad.
And she's like, look, like this venture that we're taking on is going to take labor and sweat. This is not a lame extension of your retirement. It isn't like a fun little diversion. And I love this. It isn't a chance for you to cosplay the roles you've spent your life ignoring. Woo! Which of course is a direct reference to like, you had your daughter over here to have lunch. Like, what are you doing with your time here? Like, are we working together like day and night on this, or are you just like having a fun little like post-retirement adventure and trying to like get your kids back? And he says that she seems triggered, which then triggers her more, and she has an incredible monologue, another like great like Emmy-worthy moment that, you know, her trauma, like words like triggered or these aphorisms that your trauma makes you stronger. No, my trauma traumatized me. This whole speech peaks with, the reason that I do this is because I'm enjoy it and I'm fucking good at it. And it starts and ends with work and being proven fucking right. And then she says, this is life or death to me. So again, this is why I said before, Harper says to Eric, I would never tell you to put the $10 million that's your kid's inheritance into our company in order to get Pierre to join. But this speech is basically her doing that in so many words, because she has like a full breakdown about like, are we actually both as invested in this as we could be? I don't know if that's all that this speech was about, but that was definitely part of it.
Yeah, and I thought the staging was interesting, that like it shows like the state of who has the power now, because Eric's sitting and Harper's standing the entire time while she's like doing this monologue. So we physically see like where things are imbalanced right now, and you can just feel it's like this is so much about pride for Harper. It's not even about like money. It is like the pride of her being able to overcome, like, because the reason why she, you know, doesn't talk about her past is because of that. She's like, I'm so much more than my trauma, and like what this has, like, I've become Harper Stern on my own and not Harper Stern, trauma.
Harper has overcome a lot, but like, let's not forget that like the source of one of her many undoings was Eric bringing back the fact that she wasn't a full college graduate to burn her. So correct. She has every right to still be wary of him because he has burned her before. And I just love this. Like, this is such a, like, I don't know, dad joke response to this when he says, sounds like you're a little triggered. And she does crack a smile. And he's like, here's the deal. I'm willing to go in with you on this and make it fully life or death, but you also can't show up to these kinds of meetings that I take weeks to set up with, like, half-baked ideas. And Harper actually is like, fair. Deal. It's not that she necessarily wasn't prepared for that breakfast, but she didn't have a clear thing to give them. And then I love this. They sit back down in their absolute mess between their monitors, and she blurts out, do you know I'm a twin? So it's just this whole scene is just such an amazing exchange of, like, she screams at him. Previously, she didn't want to give him any personal details, and then she does concede. After he gives her something, she's like, fine, you can know that I'm a twin.
Give him a dang bone, and now they're on equal footing. So now she's sad. They're like, they're even.
Eric has been looking at the files. He realizes that the Dublin call center's number is attached to a lot of these payments. And he also says every 100th page, printed very small, there's a care of address, and it says tender, but care of, and then it's this weird address in Sunderland, which I Googled it, is about a 5-hour drive from London. So it is not close. It is by the coast. They have a Google Street View of it, and it definitely doesn't look like a satellite office of a company as big as Tender. It just, Eric refers to it as a shithole. Like, it just looks like kind of a rundown house. And Harper, of course, gets Sweet Pea on the horn and is like,
and here we go.
I don't even know if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how prepared I am to even talk about this.
If you need me to tap in, I'm happy. This woman has no boundaries, and I respect it.
I know. I do too. I really, honestly, like, I fucking love Yaz, and like, It's just, again, like, this reminds me of, like, I feel like a Puritan.
When I was briefly told to, like, go on the app Field a few summers ago, because it's, like, the new thing, and I was, like, I went on there, I was, like, oh, no, I'm too vanilla for this. There's lots of acronyms. It's, like, a lot of, like, to be, like, a third for a couple, like, polyamory and things like that. I was, like, oh, no, I am too, this is not for me, and I appreciate that it's out there for the people that it's for, but for me, I was, like, and for those reasons, I'm out.
So Haley comes in with a flimsy excuse that she's dropping off information that she absolutely could have emailed, as Yaz brings up. She clocks this. Yaz is, of course, in her little silk bedtime ensemble. Henry comes out in just a towel. And here is where Yasmin starts calling Haley Calabasas. I cannot remember if we know that Haley's from Calabasas. I'm assuming that's why.
After she says, like, Raya must have a pretty lean scene in Austria.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, she's referring to her as Calabasas. To give a nickname is bit of a grooming tactic, I have to say. Yaz. Henry is clearly, like, uncomfortable. Like, why is Haley in here while I'm, like, getting ready for bed? And Henry is like, excuse me, Yaz, a word. What's going on? And she tells Haley to come over. Yaz is like, I want this for you. And I appreciated that Henry asked,
I know.
Do you want this? Because we must get consent, even if we are having sex with our executive assistant in front of our wife. It's still important to get consent.
And what does Whitney think she's doing right now? I know. Do you need me? Let me know when you need me to tap in.
Why don't you tap in? Why don't you tap in?
Okay, happy to tap in. Okay, so Yaz is over here, and it's interesting. We're seeing her sort of take on the worst parts of her father in this scene. Is sort of like what's happening. It's like all of the things she, like, really wants to detach herself from Charles. It's like we're seeing, like, unfortunately, this is why you had to go to a lot of therapy, even though you're like, wow, I've done years and years working on this. It's still in there. The body keeps the score. The body keeps the trauma. And she tells, she's instructing Haley what to do. She tells her, now spit on it. And it's just like, I have to say, this is very, like, it makes you think of Basic Instinct, that shot of Sharon Stone when she has her legs switching over and her lighting the cigarette. It was just, like, very, like, that coded.
Oh, yeah. Smoking a cigarette during this is, like, I don't know. It's incredible. I want her to have one of those, like, long cigarette holders.
I know. It's coming. No pun intended.
HBO, always and forever, will remind you that they are HBO. There's nothing like extreme violence or a sex scene for HBO to be like, mic drop.
And it's interesting throughout the whole sexual activity, we see the two of them constantly looking at Yaz for approval and for instruction. So it is very much like Yasmin is, even if she's not physically involved, she's the one in charge of everything happening. And she says to Haley, she says, now I believe you have something that belongs to my husband and therefore to me. And also, so this is what we have to think about. Why is Yaz making this happen? And I was like, I'm wondering, there's two things that I think that are behind this interaction. One, obviously the fact that Haley revealed that she almost slept with the news reporter earlier in the episode, and Yaz told her she's not going to tell anyone. And now she has Haley as her little puppet. Also, we remember at the end of the previous episode, Henry saying we should have a child. And I was wondering where this is going to, like, play into that later. Now we have the most diabolical smash scene cut of all time as we see Yaz go down on Haley into Yaz slurping down an oyster, because as we know what that implies, and as someone
and the way that they edited it, the sound effect was
diabolical.
Still had started before we saw the oyster. It was crazy. My other read on it too was that, like, Haley had that moment after Yaz was like, have some fun in Vienna, and Haley was like, ooh, you're not my boss. And, like, Yaz was like, oh, really? I'm not your boss?
Literally, this is Tony Danza, who's the boss. Who's Judith Light? Who's Tony Danza? And then Haley is the mom.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But,
Side note, I think the theme song for Who's the Boss slaps. I think it's a great song. I've had it on a lot of Apple playlists.
I miss theme songs. Like, in general, like, I hate that we just get, like, sounds. Like, I know. Now, like, ambient sounds. I blame Lost, because that was the first, like, ooh, it sounded like a whale.
Yaz is on a walk in the woods with Moritz's mom.
Dr. Zhivago hat.
I know. Moritz's mom is like, look, like, he knows the tender deal is good. He just doesn't want to only be defined by his family. He wants to make sure, like, he is heard. And Yaz is like, Lord Norton, he's like, is the news. He's legacy media. Like, let's just get him a fucking opinion column. The mom's like, oh, perfect. Like, seeing his thinking valorized with the Norton masthead would really mean something to him. And this whole time we've been thinking that, like, Moritz's mom maybe, like, has better views than he does. But she's like, don't you think that it's really undergirded by common sense? Like, everything he's saying. And Yaz burps at this.
There's a lot of burping.
Yeah, sure, whatever. She's packing to go, and she's looking at this painting of the castle again, and suddenly we see her gaze turn ominous, and lo and behold, this painting is painted by one Adolf Hitler. So yeah, this just confirms for Yaz that this room that she has been in that has all of their possessions closest to the soul, this is one of them. And, like, this is twofold. Obviously, she realizes what a horrible fucking person Moritz is. Just confirms. But also, yes, I mean, to know that you had a threesome in this room.
Well, that, and also that now she's given him a logistic column.
Yes.
And now
she did give this man a platform, which is not fucking great. Jim Diker is still on the case trying to get his article published, but it is being very, very heavily, redacted to hell. And he's like, can't it be stronger? Can't we just, like, tell people we think they're still processing illicit payments? These two show up undercover in Sunderland, and Sweet Pea immediately snaps into character. She's like, we're from the Office of National Statistics, so, like, the census, basically. And she was like, we were under the impression that this address was an office. Like, does anyone work here? And this woman's like, well, my son works from home. And these two are up in his room, looking at what he's up to, because these people have no idea, like, who they actually are. And he shows them everything. And basically what this guy is doing is he's taking these attachments that have transactions on them and bucketing them by hand. Okay, in the era of, like, everybody does everything, like, automated or on AI, this man is by hand taking each transaction, putting them in a spreadsheet, not by what type of transaction they are, but by what the price of the transaction was. So he's been given instructions to use these very specific codes, and then he shows them that what he's doing populates a spreadsheet that is literally the tender January earnings report, and the two of them are just, like, completely amazed. Sweet Pea knows exactly what's going on. She's like, okay, they must have a dozen of this guy, Jeffrey, and they're coding by price, not origination of service. So, like, no matter what you're getting, pornography, flowers for your mom, whatever, it just goes in one big bucket of slop called consumables by price. And so that is how they are hiding everything.
I have to say that cunty scarf on Sweet Pea.
I know. I love it.
I love it.
I know. She always looks amazing. And Sweet Pea is on a high. I love this. I actually really love this because Yaz and Harper's relationship is so tricky, and I'm sure that we will get into tricky territory with Harper and Sweet Pea. It's inevitable. It really is. But I just love this. I love that Sweet Pea is, like, feeling energized because they, like, you know, found out some, like, secret information. They're on the case. They're undercover. And Harper's like, please come work for me. And she was like, here's the fucking deal. You left Petra. You left Boston. I need your word that you're actually going to see this through. And Harper does promise her. We'll see if it actually happens. Harper immediately gets on the horn with James with this new information. We are in the meeting with the regulator, and he's trying to convince Lisa, who is another member of parliament, I believe, maybe a more powerful member of parliament than Jennifer Bevan. Lisa is not going to get off Henry's neck. She was one of the people who questioned him at the Lumi deal, and she calls him a charlatan and says this is just like a rebranding of who you are. I died. This guy coming in going, Ricky Martin with a Y. Like, what a way to introduce yourself that, you know, every time you say your name, you have to clarify Ricky Martin with a Y. So he's the chief of staff for the prime minister. He very strategically lays out this newspaper in front of Jennifer and Lisa that he's been holding that highlights that Jennifer Bevan is the next leader in waiting, basically threatening Lisa, like, hey, fall in line because, like, your coworker over here is doing it and we're trying to, like, pull her up the ranks. Henry, after being called a charlatan and being reminded of his failures, ends up disassociating off to sadness land and has to be called back to reality. And Ricky Martin with a Y is like, here's the deal. You guys can have this meeting and whatever, but the Prime Minister wants this deal to go through. So it does go through. The piece on that is published at the same time that this Finn Digest piece is published, but the severely neutered Finn Digest piece, like, doesn't really have as much sway. So, like, Henry's like, whatever. Moritz's opinion, the case for a benevolent dictatorship, is also published. And Henry's pissed because Yas went behind his back. And she's like, it was a negotiation tactic, and he's just a kook running his mouth. I mean, in this day and age, Yas, you can't be given a platform to problematic people, even if it does get you what you want.
Kook running your mouth is how we got in the situation that we're in.
Exactly. She's like, you should be thanking me. And he was like, by the way, like, I'm an addict, and that whole situation with Haley, like, I didn't like it. It felt like very enabler behavior. I'm also like, you shouldn't like it because she's your employee, and that puts everybody at risk. And Yas is like, I knew you wanted to fuck her, and I was just bold enough to give it to you. Haley comes in to, like, talk about a dinner that they have scheduled, and Yas is like, you want to join us for a nightcap? Like, you want to have some oysters? And Haley's like, oh, yeah, totally, I can cancel all my plans. Don't worry about it. And Henry's like, no, we're not doing that. And he says, we see this in the trailer for the season, he says to Yas, who the fuck did I marry? And she says, shouldn't you know that, darling? I love this exchange between the two of them. Absolutely iconic. We are at the meeting at Deutsche Bank, and Sweet Pea's like, the Finn Digest article, like, didn't really do as much as I was hoping it was going to. And Eric reveals that he did agree to Pierre's terms, so he has is now going to invest $10 million that if things don't go well, he will absolutely lose, and that is, like, a lot of his money. And then he tries to then use that as a bargaining chip of, like, we should know each other better. I'm not going to hurt you just by knowing you. And Harper sets a very clear boundary of, like, nothing good is going to come from us, like, knowing each other better. Like, we've burned each other in the past. Eric is stunned by this because he did give her what she wanted, but she, again, Harper's Harper. Like, just because you gave her what she wanted doesn't mean you're getting anything from her. Kobina shows up. He's late, but he shows up. Eric gets to meet him. Kenny now looks like full youth pastor with this hair.
I know.
And Eric says, like, I really am glad I got a chance to say sorry for firing you. And Kenny says what you said earlier, like, it's not the worst thing anyone's ever done. Not on this show, not in real life. I love, like, it really pisses me off in the same way that it pisses Yasmin off that Kenny is, like, so fully reformed now. And the episode ends with Enya coming back. I didn't realize it was in there before. Is it Orinoco Flow? Is that what it's called? I know the song. Yeah. I mean, this is just an iconic song. So I think it's cluing us in that we're about to, like, go to Dublin, maybe go to Africa, do some more, like, research on what's actually going on. Put in the comments how you felt about this episode. If you have any other, like, questions or, like, fun little Easter eggs you found or researched, like, we'll yap about it forever. You will see us again soon doing some live Treaters recaps. Not this week because our sweet Caroline is going to see Hilary Duff. We have also started putting out recaps of the original Sex and the City series, favorite episodes of our guests. Our first guest, Curry Terrell. We had the best time with him, so please check that out. Otherwise, you can find us on Instagram, on TikTok, again, here on YouTube. We love you all. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.